Well, you're either scrolling Facebook Marketplace right now looking for your very first 1.8T chassis, or you already own one, whether it's an A4, an Audi TT, an Audi S3 or A3, a Mark IV Golf. There is so many cars that come with the 20 valve 1.8T, and I hope I can give you guys a couple things to check over on to keep your car on the road and lasting a whole lot longer. So let's get into it. Okay, number one is cooling system. Now we're talking about radiator, our expansion tank, the flanges on down here, the side of the block, the thermostat flange. There's just so much plastic around this engine bay, and after 20 years of heat cycles, they all crack and you start getting really bad coolant leaks, and we don't want those. So go ahead, replace those out as soon as possible, and you'll thank yourself later. Number two is PCV and brake booster hose. Now we'll start with the brake booster hose. It just runs along your firewall and goes along into your intake manifold from your brake booster. Now if your car looks anything like this in the engine bay, it just has the intake manifold flipped the other way around, and it just connects up from here and goes into your brake booster on the firewall. Now that from factory is made out of just more thin plastic that just cracks, and then your whole engine just doesn't want to run at all. It might misfire. It's just a big vacuum leak that these cars are really commonly known to have. And then also for the PCV, this is also a super common issue, is the hoses along here often get pretty limp and start collapsing, or they start, tearing apart. And then those hoses go down into your crankcase breather, which is sort of tucked far behind there. If I was to do it right now, I would just take the intake manifold off, and you got heaps of access down there, and you'll find a piece that looks like this. It's just this L sort of elbow piece that's made out of more plastic. Just get rid of it. Replace it out with either a metal one, or if you can find some good plastic ones. That one's cracked there as well. So yeah, just not good at all. All the stuff that's on these engines that are made out of plastic, just replace out. It's just a good rule of thumb. If it's plastic, replace it. Number three is sensors. Now on these cars, you do have quite a few different little sensors, depending whether it is a wideband or a narrowband like the GCI. You got your N75 valve and your MAF on these cars, which are pretty basic. The N75 valve is basically a factory boost controller, and your MAF, well, most cars have a MAF, which is just a mass airflow sensor. It reads how much air is going into your car. And then you also have an ICM. You can see that inside the box there. Obviously this isn't the factory intake box. The ICM is really common for failing on these cars and makes your ignition not read properly. I've deleted it on this car. I've gone from a 3 to a 4 pin sort of conversion and then deleted the ICM, so I don't have to worry about that. Now these cars don't have an ICM, but they have a few other sensors that can cause issues, like the N249, the MAP sensor, which is down on the second intercooler, and that was actually a good fail point for mine. When I first got it, it didn't run any boost and it was just dumping fuel. It was really slow, and I was wondering what was it, and it just ended up being just that MAP sensor. So we replaced that out. Now the N249 is a valve sort of solenoid to sort of help not cause overboosting. By now, most of them actually cause issues more than they actually save any. So a lot of people, like me, I've deleted it. It's not really worth having. Usually if they're tuned, they just start causing a whole bunch of issues. Same with the secondary air injection, which is just another emissions hose that goes on the side of the block, and then has a little hose that goes into the intake. So you can get a little block off plate that screws onto the block, and then you just get rid of the hose. So nice and easy. Just a couple of sensors that just cause these cars to just run like crap again. And they're only small issues. Just get rid of them if you don't need them. Otherwise, replace them out with some new ones or clean them. MAFs often need cleaning, but if it is faulty, go ahead and replace it out. Now number 4 is pretty self-explanatory, and that is timing. Now the water pumps on these cars are pretty brittle from factory, at least. They did later have an update that made them a reinforced plastic impeller, but I've gone ahead and replaced both of my 1.8Ts in the S3 and the GCI with metal impellers. That way I just know that they're not going to fail. But yeah, if you do get plastic ones, they're not bad either. Just the factory ones on these cars are just really bad. Otherwise, doing timing on both sides, it's a bit weird on these motors because you got a belt on one side, and just along here you have a chain connecting the two cams together. So Yeah, if you're already in there, go ahead and replace both the chain and the belt, and you'll be set for a very long time. Number 5. Now this is a pretty uncommon one, I would say, for most people to do, and that is the sump. The gasket on these from factory, obviously they're 20 years old, they leak a bunch. Same with the rear main seal. If you have the gearbox off and you have the opportunity to do it, go ahead, replace out the rear main seal, reseal your sump as well, and clean out your pickup pipe in there. The pickup pipe is obviously attached to the oil pump, which is on that side, and it has a chain on it. Yeah, they just get clogged up with old sealant, gunk from the motor, and it could block your pickup pipe, you lose oil pressure, and your motor could potentially blow up. So yeah, clean that thing out, make sure it's all looking really good, and you'll be pretty sweet for a very long time. Number 6 is engine mounts. Now obviously you have your engine mount here, your transmission mount underneath the intake box, and your dog bone mount connected to your subframe underneath the motor. Now that is probably the most crucial one. After 20 years, those bushings are just fatigued and makes your motor just flop about in the engine bay, and that dog bone mount is literally connected to your subframe and suspension and can cause your car to just bunny hop on the road and make your car handle like crap. So definitely, if you're going to replace just one of them, maybe upgrade to a polyurethane dog bone mount. I personally have a Black Forest Industries polyurethane stage 2 mount on my GTI, and that has been absolutely amazing. So yeah, definitely look into that. Okay, number 7 is roof liners. Now if your car has a sunroof, go ahead and pull out the sunroof cover as well. I have a YouTube short showing how you can actually do that, but the sunroofs and the roof liners on these cars are just super common for sagging. All the foam and glue deteriorates and starts going inside your car. It looks horrible, it feels horrible, and all the time you spend driving your car is obviously on the interior. So if your interior feels crap, your whole car feels like crap. So go ahead, replace it out. This is actually some offcuts of the roof liner material, because we recently did it on my Audi S3, which is pretty much the exact same as the Golf. So go ahead and check that video out if you want to do your roof liner. I'll leave it linked up above. But yeah, definitely a big issue on these cars. Number 8 is fueling. Now inside the engine bay, I'm mainly talking about these lines that go to the fuel rail. The injectors aren't super common for failing. They possibly just need a bit of cleaning, but are pretty reliable. I haven't actually had any issues with my injectors, but these fuel lines fatigue over time, and they just, can cause issues later down the track if they split and cause a fuel leak inside your engine bay, which is never ever good. Now the other one is the fuel pump that is underneath the back seats. Go ahead, take your back seats out, and there's this sort of flap that is inside here. Take that up and unscrew this cap, and you'll see your fuel pump. Pull it out and replace out the old Bosch fuel pump with either a new one or possibly an upgraded one. If you want to make more boost down the line, without fuel your car won't make any boost, or possibly not even start. So definitely go ahead and replace out those few things. Number 9 is definitely one of the most uncommon things for most 1.8T owners to replace, and that is the oil cooler. These cars have a coolant fed oil cooler, and they're super prone to just corroding from the inside out and start leaking oil into your coolant, or vice versa, and that isn't good for pretty much any motor, especially a turbo motor. Now in this also general vicinity is the starter motor as well, and they're pretty prone to getting sticky and catching on your flywheel when you start your motor up. If your car makes a bit of a squawking sort of noise straight after you've started your car up, it's usually that, and it's just the teeth catching on the flywheel and grinding on that. So definitely, if you can, pull the starter motor out. You can either replace it. I personally like to rebuild them. You just sort of take the battery tray out, 2 bolts, slide it out, pull the whole starter motor apart, and just re-grease it, throw it back in, and you're usually all sweet. Okay, lucky last is fuse relay and shifter bushings. Now, on top of your battery, you'll locate your fuse relay. They just sit on top of the battery, and these run hot all the time and just blow big fuses. You'll either get like a stain white of burnt plastic on the top lid, or sometimes you'll just get burnt big fuses, sometimes melted across here. I know I definitely had that on the S3 when I first got it as well, and I replaced it out with a base model 1.6 liter Mark IV Golf fuse relay. They're all the exact same. You can get cheap ones online as well. I got that one from the junkyard. But yeah, definitely a big issue on these cars, and it's good to just have a second one on hand, so then when it blows you can just have another one. If you're having big wiring issues, they'll blow out a lot sooner than, you know, commonly, so then you often have a wiring issue. So definitely look into that as well. It's often the negative wire that goes to the alternator or the starter motor, so yeah, look into that. It is just super common on these cars. Otherwise, you got your bushings on the end of your cables that go to the shifter housing. They end up getting a lot of slop on the back end of your cables. Otherwise, you have your actual shifter inside your car, and the bushings in between here on top of there, on the sort of pivoting arm as well, and it causes your shifter to have a bunch of slop in it. And when you have a bunch of slop in your shifter, it becomes not so apparent what gear you're in, and you can often skip gears, graze them, or sometimes you can end up being in a gear that doesn't even exist. So definitely replace out your bushings and you'll save yourself a whole lot of headache down in the future. Well, there we go, guys. Those are my top 10 20 valve 1.8T chassis tips, and I hope some of those could help you guys out. If you have any other questions or queries, definitely hit me up on Instagram at LockyLM, same as my YouTube channel. I'm definitely happy to help you guys out on your builds as well. I'm also keen to see other people's Mark IVs or 1.8T chassis as well. I love seeing these cars. I love seeing them on the road, and hopefully we can keep them on the road as long as possible. So if you guys want to see more content from me, make sure to subscribe down below. It really helps me out. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.